Hello, welcome back from our long spring break and then taking your midterm because there's some issues I try to import. So hopefully everything goes well. Okay. And then we will start our lab, like back to our like CSCI 352, our lab again. And slightly just a recap where we stop by is about Windows, the registry directory, right? So all those like information. Okay. Of course, in the lecture, I will try to recap a little bit. And also when we move on to the lab, so we need to do some preparation. Okay. So we're still working on our you can use on your Linux system, Ubuntu. Okay. So and when we move on, just letting you know, like you need to like make sure like everything we're going to use already installed, and then this one we call the data leakage case. And then first we did set up, and then we will investigate, like look into those like the Windows registry files. Okay. And how can we move on? Right here, the purpose we try to learn like data and leakage. So also like the practice, like in is like investigation techniques. Okay, so that's we're going to use. The case we use is designed by the NSD. So this one here will be the link. Later there's a page. So because there's actually is the Windows image file, so it's pretty large. So you have to spend some time to download it. So luckily, so we do it online, so you can spend your own time, and then maybe you can like stay your home or like where have a faster speed to install it. Okay, it takes some time to download all the necessary files. Okay, and just let you know, we have the scenario in the background is the main informate was like working as a manager of that technology developments division of like with the famous internet company like this, and this company try to develop a state of art technology, and then some like Jiget, okay, something like this, and then when for the manager right here, so really interested the IT, and then there was slight knowledge of digital forensic. Okay, and then here's some information security policy. Okay, they want to make sure all the storage devices such as like HD, the or SSD, USB, and or like some CD, DVD, so they are forbidden under the security checkbox rules. Okay, and all the employees, they're required to pass through the security checkpoint system. So that's what we like to do. And then there's some like confidential electronic files, so they should be like stored and kept in the authorized external storage device and then secure network drive. And there's some paper document, electronic files should be accessed only within the like working hours. Okay, with that both page permission. Also, those non-authorized electronic devices, let's say the laptop, some like portable storage USB, or some smart device, they're not like carried onto the company. So here's a slight background. And when we move on, like one day, just like we say over caused by the conspirator. Okay, so they try to leak some like sensitive information related to the new technology. Okay, so right here, so as the employees, like so they try to, if they want to accept those offer for large amount of money, so they began establish of the detailed leakage plan. So they wanted doing like this. So when they try to like have a deliberate effort to hide the leakage plan, so maybe they talk about this. So move on, just like receive the sample data. So they will ask the direct delivery the storage devices. So they will store the remaining, so those data. So they will all this, and I try to like take all the storage away. Okay, and move on. When you know we care about the security checkpoint, so for the security, they will try to detect like in all these like in their companies, so they will like able to suspect the leakage of company data. So at the checkpoint, so although maybe like his device, let's say the memory, the USB, okay, or just like briefly check, okay, so under the protect and portable white block, okay, and also, but there's no evidence of any leakage, okay, and then also some older devices, so they immediately transfer to digital forensic laboratory for further analysis. So in this scenario, how can we find like any evidence of the data leakage? Okay, also any data that maybe like have been generated from the suspect electronic devices. So pretty long background. So right here, and try to summarize. Okay, for these like topics, for the we need to understand the type of data leakage. So it includes the basic storage devices, different type of devices, right? We know the hard drive, SSD, okay, USB, and then network like internet file sharing, remote desktop email, all these like when we talk about emails, this is what we did quickly before the spring break. So I did the email for so we look at the file examination or like those attachment or like I'm using the one shot to check, right? Okay. And also the Windows that we try to check, okay, for Windows we have some like event log, or how can we like some open files directory, those executable application like files history, and then some maybe they try to attach some external devices, let's say the USB portable, okay, all this, and then the network drive, okay, connected, okay, and then also the system cache and Windows search database, also the volume shadow copies, all this. So when we copy some data, so we have a database including the like maybe the extensible storage engine, so database or the MSQ, like the database, all these like related. And then we do have a file system, okay, including the fetch, NTFS, UDF, okay, and then those related metadata, okay. So including the NTFS with the MFT or fetch directory entries, timestamp or transaction logs, okay. So all this, and then maybe those like system we have some data, including also data recovery. So those metadata-based like recovery signatures, content-based recovery, okay. And then also like recycle bins of Windows unused area examination, so we can check. And the next we will do some web browse like for oneself. Okay, so maybe history, cache, cookie, so remember the browser. So also cookie or some internet use history. Okay, URL, search keywords, all this. And then next will be the like user behavior analysis, including like how can they construct a process timelines of events or visualize that timeline. So all this will be the like practice topics we're going to do. And right here, so always we just think about like we'll think about what are possible. Okay, when we need to study, and then we do the investigation and then answer certain questions. Okay, and before we go up, this is optional. Oh, okay, so you can install the Kali. It's optional, but when we move on, so if you're interested, if you want, so you can install it, like just like check how can you install it on your Linux system. But the most important is like try to download the image. Okay, so you can use the duplicate. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know the sign out, but it takes some time. Okay, so let me list the files right here. So I already download three of them. So total there's a three zip file. Okay, so including the CSCI1, okay, CSCI2 and CSCI3. So suppose that you need to download them like separately. Okay, so once you download all of them, you will see three files. Okay, CSCI1, CSCI2, and CSCI3. It takes some time. Make sure like you just like no typo and everything correct. You should able to download it. Okay, because I test it, so it should work. Okay, and then you can of course if you remember, we always start with our like listing the files and check the permissions, and let's see right here. So we can get all them the three files. So right here, okay, and the next step will be using the 7-zip. Okay, so in case you forgot or like you reset or system, because I out of the storage, so I rebuild all my systems. So right here you see I install this one is the Ubuntu with the GUI. So sometimes it will be more convenient. So but I still using the terminal. So you can also do it. So I just install the 7-zip, okay, and 7-zip, and you can just execute like 7-zip extract and from the files CSL1 because it will automatically grab the rest of them. So like CSL1, CSL2, CSL3. So once it takes some time, like it takes some because for this one is like new to me, so you will see I already installed it. So you can use the sudo apt install the p7-zip full and then the p7-zip run. So you can able to install of this, and then also there's some dependencies will install automatically. Okay, and once you're able to do that, then you can use the 7-zip extract it and start with the CSL1. So because the 7-zip will knows how to like extract the rest of them. Okay, so 1 and CSL 2 and 3. So after they grab everything, you will see everything goes okay. Okay. And you will see the last one comes with DD. So it's the DD, the image file. Okay. Of course, like once you're able to do that, and you can use the MD5 sum. So I already checked it. So you can do it. So you can use the MD5 sum to check the to verify the files. Okay, so here's the basic. And so for that's what you should able to do it. And remember for all this step, like you can just make it and then make a screenshot. Okay, keep a record because you can do it one more time. So of course you can for listing file, you don't have to show me like how do you download, but when you try to list all the files, and then I will see 4 files with the name there, I know you already did it. So just at least you have the files. Okay. And before we move on, we just do some like really basic before we check the Windows and mount it. And of course, like for the fdisk, okay, so we can like checking the files like this file. So you can run the fdisk, okay, to check the DD image. So make sure you are not, be careful. You will see the end of PC and then .dd. So we are not checking the zip file, okay, but we really want to check the image file. And under this image file, so you will see you're able to see, okay, maybe the boot volume, okay, where it from, boot, okay, right here, and then also the starting address. So right here you will see the system volume, the initial like boot process, and then the start will be shown right here, 2048, 20, 68, 48 right here. Okay, so you will see. And when you look at this one is like when have a asterisk right here, put a star right here, so it's a that means it shows the device is bootable. So but this one is not the boot partition, just like be careful. Okay, so and their type is like supported like HPFS and TFS or like effect, so they're okay. And so far if you're able to do so, here slightly some conceptual things you need to know, like for the system volume. So it mainly it contains the essential file system. Okay, so including the configurations for initial booting process and then system setup, startup. Okay, so this is what you need to know. And those the system volumes, I mean, first of all, includes the boot files, so the master boot, okay, record MBR, or the grid partition table GPT. Okay, so that one just depends on the system. Okay, and also they're essential for the OS to locate for the necessary files. So we have the MBR, the emblem right here, and then we have maybe like under we have some like partition tables, right, with different partitions, and then also we have the push code, and then the push signatures right here. So mainly will be the MBR right here. We started for initial booting process, and then for the boot volume, it will be the core OS files. They are stored over there, and it contains the files like the Windows system files. Okay, that means all the environments. Okay, for Windows, and then the program files, and also those will be the OS continues to run once the boot process is complete. So right here, so the boot volume will be assigned as the drive letter. So you see start with C. So where you see start with BIOS. So when we try to when you turn on power on, okay. So the BIOS we initialize like some hardware, and then we start to load the MBR. So this one we call the code. So to store in the MBR. So they start with this 0. And then we go to some active partition. So we load the code. Okay, so from the boot setters, okay, of the active partition, and then we go load the bootloader. So this bootloader, so it's for the boot setters, load and run the bootloader from its file system. So overall, it would be look like this. And we can use how can we which commands we can use to list a file directory name in a system volume. So we use it when we talk about the volume, system volume, so we can check it. So you can FS, okay. Make sure you we use it before. If you miss it, you don't have it, then you can install it. Because as what I say, because I'm brand new, so I also need to install it. So you see, I can install it. Okay, so if you don't have it, it will pop out, give you the hints. So which one you need to install. Suppose in your previous lab, if you didn't erase or rebuild, then you should have it. Okay, if you don't have it, just reinstall it. So it's pretty quick. So after you install it, then you can try to edit if you remember the offset. So start with offset, if you remember, it's 2068-48, right? So it's right here. So when we try to list, and that's how it looks like, 2068-48. So that's how we're going to load. Okay. And then with the image, of course, we can pass it, with it passing the D, and then with the maybe the head. So head is I think there's some previous we try to using the and see the file. So right here, so you will be pretty familiar with this all the documents once you check, so including the user folders, documents, okay, some program data, program files, right? So already I'm able to see. And maybe when you check the range right here, so it will telling you some hints, maybe they're under different type. So possible, or maybe if they are FAT or exFAT, so maybe possible it will be the USB or NTFS, probably the Windows system UFS, some cameras, mobile phone, okay. XTS, maybe Linux HFS, can also maybe iOS. So we can based on this to check, okay, and then we will know, okay, what the devices attached. And so you will see right here, if you see the regular files, so they will say R will be the file name structure, and then if you another R comes up will be the files metadata structure, okay, and then it will tell them what's the allocated files, so they will always be equal if for those deleted file, so they could be different, but once the structure be allocated to a different file type, so it's possible. So as if you know the file system, and it will be showing, okay, it's the directory. And if you see some numbers right here, so it can be the entry point of the metadata address, and then based on the metadata address, so we're using the TSK, so that's what we're using. So for showing the address of the system specific data structure, okay. And for the in behind, it's showing 446, so will be NTFS, so we're showing the data attribute. So for different numbers, it representing different type of system. Okay, attached it. And so far, because this one it takes some time, it mainly requires to do it. So what you need to do is able to complete to this step, and that's what you need to do as the beginning of the new lab, of the break. So at least you should be able to commit to this step. And once you have the files, remember, I pretty quickly, actually, there's some questions you will later, but I will keep it for the next lab. We're going to keep, and then if you there's something we need to do, try to manage, but at least because I already uploaded, if you think you are able to do that, then you can try to like using man the files, following the steps. But this is what I would like to keep um to move on. But before this part, just like a slight recap about what is the Windows register. Okay, so it will be the database. So we store some low level settings of the like Windows OS. Okay, and then also you will store the setting of the application. So they will be like up to use the registry. Okay, so it's a hierarchy database. Okay, and they will store the forensic information and the components use the registry, so including the kernels, like really low below the core component of the OS, and then we have the device drivers. So some software components, maybe they need to facilitate some communication between OS and hardware devices. Then that one will be the drivers and also the servers. Okay, some background process running, so there's some specific function that we use for the maybe OS or applications. Okay, and of course some securities, account manager, and manage user account, security setting, all this user interface, like so that like your interactions or control the computer software, all this will be the registry. And you see based on user, and then you will see if you tap the Windows, like the registry ended, you will able to check. That's what we go to investigate. Okay, so we investigate registry, and that's how we going to be looks like. Okay, for details, I will cover in our next lab. And suppose like you should be able, or like at least when you have a Windows system, okay, or you running it, or maybe your own machine, or maybe you have a VM, okay, have a Windows. Then when you check the just everything, then you should able to see like different type of like different type, like mainly we like sometimes we have a user, local machine, user, okay, all this, okay. So we're gonna to check. And I will keep this part for our next lab, and going to do the investigation. If just like for testing, okay. So in terms of course I come back. So you can see probably you can check your VM if it able to if it support like automat. Okay, so it able to do the automat, then you will see, okay, I will able like trying adding the slew group, and then try to find it using mount, try to mount this image to the, so you under the def like loop 16, and then when I try to see able to capture, okay, def loop 16 and list, then that means I'm all good. Okay, so for student, you were thinking you're good enough, like you're able to complete this step, please check, okay, if you're able to manage, because we're going to like to investigate for details like man the image content, okay, and hopefully we are able to like check for other details. And that's it for today's lab, and hopefully you are able to complete all this step, and then like at least to reach this part. Okay, so I think it's pretty straightforward, and it's a pretty good recap, and help you like to build a dashboard with stuff by about the Windows registry. Okay, and hopefully this step to bring you back like some memories. Okay, and then with some lab to do some practice, and so far will be like this. Thank you so much.